This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Well, sooner or later, we knew this was going to happen. And I'm not surprised at how they're wording this and how they're going to get this done. And that's in regards to banning Bibles, claiming Bibles are hate speech. I've done videos in the past on it talking about how they had the Bible on the list of the most controversial books in America. It was above 50 Shades of Grey as one of the most controversial books, how they're banning Bibles from libraries and all this stuff. But when you think about it, you're not going to wake up one day, turn the TV on, and all of a sudden hear Bibles banned across America. Because suddenly that would zap the sleeping zombies in the forehead, and they go, whoa, wait a minute. I'm a Christian, but, that's a little bit extreme or ridiculous. They have to do it this specific way. They do it in a way where they're not going to outwardly say the Bible is banned, but certain type of hate speech will be banned. And that's what's going on in California with the law that they're passing, which could ultimately lead to the banning of Bibles, which is Assembly Bill 2943, a pro-LGBTQ bill, which is quickly making its way through the California State Assembly after it was approved on the floor Thursday. The bill now goes to the state Senate for a vote. If passed, it could ultimately threaten free speech and freedom of religion for Christians. Get this, it uses the state's consumer fraud statute to restrict religious freedom and free speech when it comes to issues of homosexuality and gender identity. Now, before I continue forward, this is not hate speech. Let me make it clear to the YouTuber who's going to be reviewing this video. I am reading about a law, and I am entitled to have my own opinion as a Christian. I do not wish harm or death on any group or organization, and if anybody has a problem with my free speech, I'd love to see you face to face in the court of law. Now, this bill would make it illegal to distribute resources, sell books, offer counseling services, or direct someone to a biblically based model for getting help with gender confusion and homosexuality. In other words, if you're somebody who has their own ministry, something along those regards, and you're reading verses about how God feels about homosexuality, or you're talking about things going on in the current world like I do on this channel, in the state of California, that would be considered a crime. Randy Thomason with SaveCalifornia.com says the bill is very broad and could affect just about anything, helping people overcome same-sex desires. Quote, so this is a pastor speaking. You pay a ticket to hear him speak. He speaks about overcoming same-sex desires. Hey, that could be outlawed. A church sells a book about overcoming same-sex desires. There's a sale. There's a transaction. That could be banned. This is very expansive, very tyrannical, and absolutely squashing free speech, religious freedom, and basic choice of people. This is an anti-freedom, anti-American bill, which is exactly what it is. Essentially, churches and Christian schools that share biblical teaching on the subject would be open to a lawsuit. How unbelievable is this? How unbelievable. You're not allowed to have an opposing view on that, but people can have an opposing view on Jesus. They can have an opposing view on our opinion on things, but we can't have an opposing view on homosexuality or gender identity, which is just insanity in general. Unbelievable. Quote, well, you could see this law going into effect. A church bookstore selling the Bible, of course, selling a book about marriage or sexual purity or overcoming homosexuality or overcoming transsexuality. You could see a member of the public or even a member of the state government coming and saying, hey, that's illegal. Even the Muslim community should be against this too because of what is said about sexual perversion in the Quran. In AB 2943, if AB 2943 clears California Senate and is signed into law, it would negatively impact Christian counselors, bookstores, church references, as well as medical and health professionals. The bill also seeks to ban biblically based counseling for those wanting to get help. So in other words, if you are somebody who is dealing with homosexuality, and you realize, which a lot of people, there's people who listen to this channel, and listen, you all know my take on it. I mean, I've had videos, striked, removed. A lot of Christians have for speaking about LGBT and stuff like that, and not even speaking too harshly, just saying what it really is. There's a lot of people, a lot of teens who say, listen, I'm dealing with this. I understand what it is now. I understand I wasn't born this way. I understand it's a perversion. And, I'm seeking religious counsel or Christian counseling, or I'm seeking biblical counseling. I'm seeking all sorts of things. And you're going to say that, no, somebody like me can't, give them scripture to use to try to overcome this and realize that it's not right. It's not normal. That's fair. Give me a break. And there's people who have actually were gay, who listen to this channel, who are no longer gay and been saved through Jesus Christ, who want to counsel others and say, listen, I was in the same boat. I struggled with this perversion. I realized it was a perversion. I realized it was a mental thing. It wasn't me, born this way. And I found Jesus Christ and I overcame that temptation. And now I live, without committing the sin of homosexuality. And they could counsel young teens out there who struggle with it. But no, they don't want that. Of course they don't want that. Why would they want that? Why would they want a society living by God's law? Why would they want a society that's normal? They don't. The bill also seeks to ban biblically based counseling. Like I said, it comes 6 years after California deemed it illegal for minors to receive counseling for same-sex attraction, even if they and their parents wanted help. Now this bill would also address adults. AB 2943 would start by saying, okay, nobody can get counseling to overcome same-sex desires. Okay, so no help for adult children, adults who were molested as kids, and now they are adults, and they say, I want help to overcome these feelings. No help for you. Exactly, because a lot of these kids who end up being molested, young boys being molested by older men, whether it's their father, whether it's somebody in the town, whatever, somebody in a coven, they're in these secret societies, whatever it might be. If that child grows up and realizes that it's wrong and realizes that the only reason that he's feels these emotions towards that is because he was abused as a kid, you can't counsel him and tell him that, you know what I mean? Exactly what's going on, exactly why he feels this way. It's ridiculous. The bill states that contemporary science recognizes that being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transsexual is part of the natural spectrum of human identity. It is not a disease, disorder, or illness. Let me read that again. The bill says that contemporary science recognizes that being lesbian, gay, bi, trans is part of the natural spectrum of human identity and not a disease, disorder, or illness. Well, I'm glad that I'm not a part of the natural spectrum of human identity, because that's nothing but, as they'd say, hogwash, or as a lot of us would say, bull, S-H-I-T. Matt Starr, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, told CBN News that what makes this bill especially dangerous is that California often leads the charge in pushing the LGBTQ legislative agenda. California was once the first state to ban conversion therapy for minors. Shortly afterward, Oregon, New Jersey, and Vermont passed similar laws. People have the right to seek the counsel of their choice, but this bill substitutes the government for personal choice. The implications are staggering, and the result is harmful, extremely harmful. And this is just the beginning, folks. Liberty Counsel further explains this bill would also make it unlawful for any person to sell books, including the Bible, I said this already, counseling services, or anything else that directs people to trust in Jesus Christ to help them overcome unwanted same-sex attraction or gender confusion. Imagine a church not allowed to sell Christian books or even Bibles that help people overcome same-sex attraction. This bill would do the unimaginable if passed. If it does pass, we will immediately file suit, says the Religious Liberties Organization. I mean, this is just how they're going to do it, folks, Because if they come out and they flat out go, we're going to ban the Bible, there will be people who are atheists, who are of other religious beliefs that would disagree with that because they'd say, well, that's not fair because, you shouldn't ban their book. But if they do it this way, where they talk about LGBT and hate speech, because remember, hate speech has only been created to get rid of free speech. That's the only reason it exists, is to get rid of our free speech. They can classify anything that doesn't fit the narrative as hate speech, anything against the LGBT. If you don't agree with homosexuality, it's hate speech. If you don't agree with people, deciding that they want to be, lightning poles, or what do you call it? You want to be a baseball bat. as your gender and you disagree with it, well, then it's hate speech to that poor person who wants to be a baseball bat. There's no such thing, apparently, as mental illness anymore, right? Because they're going to point the finger and say the Christians are the ones with mental illness because they're so hateful and they're bigots. The Antichrist comes in the name of love, folks. That's the deception. Christians continue to not understand that because and listen, Jesus Christ was all about love, okay? The heart of the Lord is mercy. I understand that. But here comes the deception. The deception is that by being a part of this love, love, love movement, this anti-bullying movement, all of this stuff about hate speech, you're going along with the Antichrist agenda. That's what you're doing. Because this is going to get rid of Bibles. Christians are going to be going along with this. They're going to be like, Jesus is love. Of course I'm a part of the love movement here. Of course I'm against bullying. Of course, because it's defined the way they want to define it. They define bullying as defending yourself. Right? People call me a bully all the time. Show me where I've gone after somebody unprovoked. Show me. Constantly provoked. Oh, and then I go after them and they're like, look what he said. Look what he said. He's not a Christian. How awful. Huh? Oh, I'm not allowed to have free speech. I'm not allowed to defend myself. Christians are falling for this deception, this love deception, because they're tying in hate speech. And Christians aren't going to realize. The next thing they know, the Bibles are going to be banned in every state, because they're going to look at it as hate speech because it doesn't go along with LGBT. And that's a fact. And people need to be aware of it. This law needs to be spat on, used as toilet paper, and thrown into the people's faces who made this law, because it's an absolute abomination and disgrace. Hopefully, some people out there stand up against this because it needs to be spoken out against. Because guess what? It might just be us Christians now, but you're somebody out there who believes in something else, you're next. And until everybody's worshiping Lucifer and following this, pedophilia, black magic, cannibalism society that they want, I mean, that's what they want. That's what this is all about. So you're going to be next until you're one of those people following it. And when you realize it's too late, it's too late. So don't let it happen. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.